And I'm back, World Series G here for a new NBA 2K18 team breakdown. In this one, we gonna feed the deer. The Milwaukee Bucks, led by the Greek freak Giannis Antetokounmpo. If you haven't seen my last video, I had the 76ers. So let's get right into it. Let's check out this team's roster. Alright, so let's break down the Milwaukee Bucks roster. This is personally one of my favorite rosters in the game. I mean, it starts off with the Greek freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo, all-around superstar. You already see that. Chris Middleton, Jabari Parker, Greg Monroe, Malcolm Brogdon, Thon Maker, Tony Snell, Matt Dellavedova, John Henson, Teletovic, DJ Wilson, who's a rookie, Jason Terry, still playing in the NBA. He's got to be, 40 years old? Sheesh. Rashad Vaughn, Gary Payton II, Sterling Brown. So, like I already brought up with the Sixers, you want to look at defense, and this is this team's calling card, along with their great length. So you see right there, there's 4 guys that are good perimeter defenders already. And then you got Tony Snell and Gary Payton, who are solid. So already right there, you know they can play defense, especially on the perimeter. If we go inside, Greg Monroe, Giannis, Henson, Parker. Not a great rim protecting team, but you know you have good perimeter defenders, so you're gonna take advantage of that when you put together your defensive scheme, and they're gonna have a really aggressive defensive scheme. So another thing you want to look at is the defensive IQ. So on-ball defensive IQ, Giannis is number 1. Middleton, Dellavedova, Snell, whose overall wasn't that high. It was C plus? But you can see here, well, 78 is probably like C plus also, but that's high. That's what you want. So you got about 6 guys there with on-ball IQs that are around 75. So that's really good defense, which is this team's calling card. You look at the pick and roll defense, also high ratings there. Help defensive IQ, high ratings there. Consistency, not as much, but you see right there, this team is not only just good defensively, they got high IQs, which means you can do aggressive things like switch on pick and rolls and switch a lot of actions because of their ability to not screw up. That's the biggest thing with your AI defense, is that they screw up a lot of times. So if you got guys with high IQ, less likely for them to screw up. So that's going to be very vital. Another thing with this team is that obviously they're not the greatest offensive team, but they've got enough shooting that's probably going to help them. So if you look at the A plus, they've got about 3 3-point shooters. Middleton, Brogdon, Terry, who, because he's so bad defensively, might not see much of the floor. He's also just kind of small and old. But you got Snell, and you've got Parker, and even Thon Maker, which makes this team an interesting offensive candidate also because of the fact that they got a lot of face-up bigs. But Giannis, probably one of their worst shooters, but he's so good everywhere else that it kind of makes up for the fact that he just doesn't have a jump shot yet. But when he gets one, he's going to be a complete monster, which he already is. So that's my Bucks breakdown of the roster. We're going to get into their offense. They run a particularly unique offense. So we'll go into that freelance. We'll go through a couple of the actions, see how you can use them, see how you can break away and use particular players' skills to be more effective with that. So the freelance offense that the Bucks run is called the corner offense. And it starts kind of like a triangle with 3 guys on the one side of the floor. So you get the guy in the high post, 1 on the wing, and 1 by the corner. So it's mainly a read and react offense. So your actions aren't always going to be the same. So if you're someone who likes to see the same thing happen over and over again and react to that, you're probably not going to like this offense. But what's cool about it is it has a lot of backdoor cuts and quick actions. So it's something you can run really quickly at the beginning of your offense and not kind of bog your offense down. You can kind of break out from it. So one of the first actions is you pass it to the high post. From there, the guy on the elbow is going to set a quick screen for the guy in the corner, and he can pop out for a 3. That obviously is not going to work all the time. But if it does, you get that 3. Another thing that could happen is the guy who passed it into the high post can fake the screen and then cut for a quick basket, which is something that's really cool. Quick action, quick offense. If that guy doesn't shoot the 3 off of it, he can then is going to run straight into a pick and roll from that guy on the high post. So there you go, another quick pick and roll action, and then you can reverse the ball to your other side of the floor and then start things from there. Mainly the thing you want to do with the corner offense is not rely too heavily on it on baskets, but allow it to make the defense move. And then you can reverse it to the other side and get into your high ball screen actions if that's what you want to do. Online, it's probably going to be difficult to play because, the computer, your human defenders are going to be a little more wonky and not allow those things. But if you got a guy who's denying the ball in certain situations like that, it can be effective. And a guy like Giannis Antetokounmpo can also just be very effective in those little tight spaces because he's so quick and strong and fast and long. So he's going to beat guys in tight spots. Another cool wrinkle I like about it is on the opposite side of the floor is another quick action you can use is I can pass the ball to the guy on the opposite high post where the triangle isn't, and I can get a quick cut to the basket there. Or if he holds on to the ball long enough, they'll set a double screen on the opposite side of the floor, and I get a guy to pop out for a 3. And if that works, I get a nice wide open 3 at the top. But like everything else, you want to use it sparingly. You want to use it as a weapon in your arsenal. You don't want it to use as your only weapon. But this team, because of guys like Jabari Parker and Giannis Antetokounmpo, it can be effective, especially Jabari Parker's ability to attack from the high post. He's a lot quicker than most power forwards. He's got a decent mid-range shot, and he's really strong attacking the basket. Unfortunately for you Play Now online guys, once the season starts, you're not going to have Jabari Parker at your disposal because of the fact that he's hurt and won't probably play till about February. But a cool wrinkle you could use is put Giannis at the 4. You got basically the same exact thing with a way more athletic player handling ISOs in that little spot on the floor. And because you got good shooters around him, the down screens and the other actions are going to be very effective. So at first I wasn't big on the corner, but the corner has its ups. So you might still want to use it. I think it could be very effective. But we're going to break down what really makes this Bucks team go, and that's their defense and the defensive style I think is best for these guys. So if you ever watch this Bucks team in real life, you know they're long, athletic, and once they get going, they are gone, and that's what we're going to do with this team. So they block shots, they get steals, and they run. So we're going to devise a defensive scheme that allows those things to happen. And it's going to involve a ton of switching. We're basically going to switch everything. If you look at their starting lineup, it's Malcolm Brogdon, Chris Middleton, Giannis, Jabari Parker, and Thon Maker. Thon Maker at the 5 makes all of this go. His ability to be quick and long allows them to switch basically all positions. Even a mismatch with a guy like Malcolm Brogdon isn't the worst thing in the world because of Thon Maker's ability. He might actually block the entry pass to the big man in the post that probably Brogdon is guarding. So we're going to switch everything. So if we look at the defensive settings, we're going to start with moderate, which is just a basic game plan. From there, we still want to force direction baseline, and this is when the defense gets interesting. On-ball screen, switch. The hedge man, we're going to go no hedge, but it won't matter. I think it should be grayed out because we're switching. Everything's going to switch. Off-ball screen is the same thing. We're going to switch for the center. It doesn't gray out, so we're going to go no hedge. Stay attached, no, unless we have a guy who we have to stay attached to. Off-ball screen is switch. Obviously, we're going to leave it manual for double teams. Switch rules, switch all. We're going to switch all screens. Off-ball screens, on-ball screens, everything's getting switched. It's as you as a player has got to remember that and notice those things defensively, but it's going to help you, especially on pick and rolls. There's no turning the corner because your guy that tries to turn the corner is just going to run into the guy who's switching into him. And with that, because the way 2K is kind of funky, sometimes you're going to force some easy turnovers just off the guy bouncing off of the switch man's body. He's going to lose the ball. And then with this team, you're out and gone. So it's really effective. You need a team with a high defensive IQ, but it can definitely work. One other thing is you want to gap Don Maker's man. In this situation, it's Al Horford, who's a good shooter, but you still want to gap that guy's man because you want Don Maker to give as much help as possible to allow the help. His length is going to be very vital to get those blocks that are going to set up the transition game for you guys. But that's pretty much it. So the Bucks have been broken down. This is a really good team. I suggest you guys actually try to play with them. They've got a good lineup. They're young. Giannis is a beast. Use them in your My GM. Even just try to grab a couple plays on your My Team. But I'm World Series G. If you like this video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. And I'm signing out. Stay tuned for some more breakdowns. And peace.